In this video, I wanted to rank the 13 Celestial Hypogean heroes we have and talk through them briefly about how strong they are in the different game modes. Definitely now with so many Celestial Hypogean heroes, it is really important that you prioritize which heroes to be building up. So let's go ahead and begin with number 1, which is going to be the twins Elijah and Lila. These are the most game-changing Celestial Hypogean hero, used in every single game mode in all the top meta teams in each game mode, and even good in PvP. And I think for the foreseeable future, I believe the twins are going to remain on top as the best support for Dream Realm and even AFK stages. And even if more powerful supporters come, probably the heroes which are most likely to be replaced are going to be either Smokey, Mikola, other, secondary supporters you have in your Dream Realm teams, for example. I really find it hard to believe the twins are going to be out of the meta anytime soon. And so they're a very safe investment, and every account should have the twins, Elijah and Lila, at Supreme Plus. It is just going to be so beneficial for your progress as well as your enjoyment of the game. So the twins, number 1 hero. But one thing I believe for optimal progression early on is that one copy of the twins, you try to make use of that for a bit while you begin building up your damage dealer, which is going to be Freyasto. So the number 2 Celestial Hypogean hero in the game right now, I still think is Freyasto in terms of a priority list, because he not only can be a good tank for like AFK stages and PvP, but also he can deal a lot of damage in endless Dream Realm bosses thanks to his HP per second damage. And so I think the optimal path to progression for a new player is one copy of the twins and then one copy of Freyasto, and then gradually building up Freyasto all the way to Mythic Plus, which will be 8 copies in total. Get him up to plus 10 exclusive equipment, and then he's actually going to be doing pretty good damage for Dream Realm Endless boss content, and then you can go back to the twins and complete them all the way to Supreme Plus. I think that's probably the optimal progression for an early game account. Basically, these 2 heroes, Freyasto and the twins, every single player should have on their account. Freyasto, you could leave at Mythic Plus or Supreme. There are some people who did that, but there's no harm, and actually, I think it's probably a good idea to take him all the way to Supreme Plus, plus 20 exclusive equipment, max him out, basically. He's a very good hero, and still, even though he's been out for a long time, and you always worry that heroes after a long time, they maybe get power crept, but Freyasto so far has held his own and remained one of the best damage dealers for endless Dream Realm bosses. So Freyasto is definitely deserving of the number 2 spot in the priority of Celestial Hypogean heroes. Now, number 3, I'm going to have to say is Rainier. Rainier, again, is a starter story Celestial Hypogean hero. If you guys played at the global launch of AFK Journey, everyone was recommending Rainier, and it's crazy that even like over a year and a half kind of after that, Rainier is still the best support for Dream Realm, for pre-endless bosses specifically. So, Rainier is so unique thanks to his debuff, but he needs to be at Mythic Plus. Before he is upgraded to Mythic Plus, basically he's almost useless on your team, so it's like quite a big investment, right? And that's why I would put him on the 3rd priority after you got your twins and Freyasto done, then you work on Rainier. But getting him to Mythic Plus is going to be really helpful for certain Dream Realm teams. It allows you to maximize your damage score. Even in Thalassa, for example, which is a Dream Realm boss where you cannot use melee heroes, Rainier has a place even up until endless difficulty. But usually what happens for Rainier is he's really good for pre-endless, but once you make it to endless Dream Realm bosses where you go for that HP per second, like pure damage sort of lineup, then Rainier doesn't get value, because his debuff, which increases the damage that the boss will take by 25%, is massive. It's the biggest debuff in the game, but this damage amplification can only apply to true damage or regular physical or magical damage. It cannot apply to HP per second, that HP reduction damage, which is really the meta for endless bosses. But either way, Rainier, because he needs Mythic Plus and doesn't need to go beyond that, it's like a lower investment hero. You only need 8 copies, and he's at his maximum potential, basically. So definitely number 3 hero is going to be Rainier. Now, the number 4 hero, I'm very confident about it. There are some people who would argue with my opinion here, but a number 4 hero has to be Harak. And the reason for that is, even though Harak is not the most meta in Dream Realm, especially for like pre-endless bosses, if you're looking at this season so far, hardly any top team is using Harak other than Plague Creeper for a bit in Necrodraken. But things are going to rapidly change when we make it into phase 2, which will be starting very soon. You're going to see we're moving into endless Dream Realm bosses. We won't have the Mythic Plus magic charms yet. That is when Harak completely dominates Dream Realm. I'm predicting that probably 5 out of the 8 Dream On bosses, he is going to be in the number 1 top team. This is usually always what happens when we make it to endless difficulty. But then when we make it to endless difficulty right at the end of the whole season, so in the end of phase 3, when we have Mythic Plus charms as well, that is when Harak might be replaced by those Shakir for Astro comms, because Shakir gets a lot of value from Mythic Plus charms, Ludovic gets a lot of value. But up until that point, Harak is going to reign supreme, and even at that point, he's probably still going to be the best option for Necro Draken, where you need mobility heroes, and for Plague Creeper, where you can rapidly kill all of the summons. So Harak is a very core hero to have for Dream Realm. For Ravage Realm, of course, he's always going to dominate. And even in PvP, he's not bad. He's actually quite usable. And especially Supreme Arena this week, the map number 2, where you can get a big shield by getting moving more than 4 tiles. He is actually very suited for that map. So overall, solid hero, good PvP applications, very good in Dream Realm. And so I would say you kind of have to build Harak. Some people want to skip and wait for him to be power crept, but people have been waiting for that for a while, and he's still not power crept. Okay, for number 5, I'm not just going to name one hero. I'm going to actually name 3 heroes. And I'll talk about why. So they are going to be Athalia, Talene, and Cryonaya. So let's go ahead and begin with Talene. So Talene is very good. She's good in PvP. She's difficult to kill, and she used to be good in Dream Realm. However, now with Shamira and all of these other damage dealers, Talene is being completely replaced in the top Dream Realm comms, and she's only kind of like a Ravage Realm hero at this point, or like really, really backup teams for Dream Realm. So like not a priority build for getting that top Dream Realm team. So she's actually a hero which is skippable. Now that we're in the basically 5th ranking of heroes, these heroes are skippable. They're not must-haves to have on your account. But Talene is still very good in PvP. She's good in stall comms. I usually always run her on one of my Supreme Arena defenses, and definitely in Clash runs, I would be running her as well. Overall, strong hero, probably quite good future-proof potential because of the fact that she can just keep reviving herself. You always want to have a hero like that on your team, and in regular arena, she's really good because she really shines those heroes which are difficult to kill for regular arena. Along with her is Athalia, and I kind of see these heroes really similarly, but I actually think Athalia is going to be slightly higher than Talene. Out of these heroes, of these 3 I've mentioned, Cryonaya, Talene, and Athalia, I think Athalia is actually the best one to be building up after Harak. Because Athalia is very good for PvP, super dominant. She is basically the strongest PvP carry in the game right now. And she's very flexible. She can work on a lot of teams. She's also doing surprisingly well in Dream Realm, like being in the best Necro Draken team and some different teams. And I'm hoping that later on in phase 2, she's going to continuously do pretty decently in Dream Realm as well. But definitely her major role is PvP, and she really shines at that. Very solid hero. I would personally recommend, if you're choosing between these 3, my recommendation is Athalia. But they're all very close to each other. Cryonaya, Talene, and Athalia all very close to each other. So Cryonaya, why is she good? She's decent in PvP. She has a bit of issues because she takes a bit too long to charge up her ultimate, but when she casts her ultimate, is basically the biggest instant win button in the game, because as soon as she casts her ultimate, you're basically probably going to eliminate 3 enemy heroes, and you have such an advantage that your team will win the match. It isn't always the case. There are some counters to Cryonaya. However, for the most part, she's very good in PvP if she can get her ultimate. The problem is it can take her a while to charge up. She can be killed before casting her ultimate. Those are basically the things holding her back. But I think she's very solid and a very unique hero for PvP. For Dream Realm, she hasn't seen so much use right now in pre-Endless bosses, but in Endless, she always usually is in 1 or 2 of the top Dream Realm teams along with Harak. And maybe even in the phase that we're going to have, phase 2, she might do really well because Harak is really going to dominate at that point. Maybe Cryonaya will be good there too. So Cryonaya, bit of niche Dream Realm use, good PvP hero, but she needs a lot of support. But once she casts her ultimate, it's usually going to win your team the fight. So that's why I consider all of these 3 heroes around about rank 5. Now moving on to rank 6. So rank 6 is basically going to be 2 heroes I'm going to name right now, which are Dunlinger and Kulu. Dunling and Kulu, I consider both of them very tech options for PvP. Maybe even Kulu should be rated higher. I don't know. Kulu's done really well in regular arena. She has a lot of crowd control from her Boom Boom Bash skill, and she has high damage from her ultimate, pretty crazy. And then of course setting up the barrier on the map, giving your team the range defense buff. It's a really nice tech option for PvP, counters a lot of melee comps, but of course dashers like Athalia can still do fine into Kulu. But Kulu and Dunlinger, they're both very good tech options for PvP, and if you have the luxury of building them, I think that they do really well. And right now I have upgraded Paragon upgrade of Dunlinger, but I really do also want a Paragon upgrade Kulu, because Kulu is doing really well in regular arena. Specifically, my guildmate always runs her, and it's difficult to defeat his teams all the time. She's really solid. So Kulu and Dunlinger. Dunlinger, of course, he's going to continue to have value in the future because of his ultimate denial, and also the Cure Lock to prevent the burst healing from heroes like Ludovic. It can counter the whole, basically, game plan of an enemy team. So especially on offense, he's really good. But Kulu as well, even on defense, is really good with the range defense buff, as well as the setting up the barricades. You can build a team around her, which will be difficult to kill, and it's annoying. Kulu, I just find really annoying when I've faced him in regular arena. Like, I feel like it gives the opponent too big of an advantage compared to any other option I can run rather than Kulu, because my Kulu is not built yet. So yeah, both of these heroes very solid, but I would say way down the line in terms of priority. Like, if I had to say it, I think Athalia, Cryonite, and Talion are all more important because of the fact that they have a little bit of niche. Well, I don't know, even Kulu has a little bit of use in Thalassa, but Athalia and Cryonite specifically, I think will have more overall Dream Realm usage than Kulu, and of course Dunlinger has no Dream Realm usage. So I see them as a PvP tech options. And that is the other thing. You can't really, they're not a hyper carry, right? So like, if you're limited and like you have a Talion or you have a Thalia, you can build a comp around them. If you have Dunlinger or Kulu, it's really awkward to run them unless you have other hyper carriers like Athalia and Talion to be running on the team as well, right? So that's kind of the thing, and that's why they're lower down the tier, because like first you should get your hyper carry built for PvP, whether it be Talion, Athalia, or Cryonite, and then you build these tech supportive options like Kulu and Dunlinger, but they're still very good. And then we have Baelran. I think I'm going to have to put Baelran as number, so we're up to number 7, right? So I'm going to put Baelran. He has the ability to potentially solo and duel enemies once he gets fully healed up, but he needs a lot of support to be fully healed up to that point, and his damage is not anything amazing, and he also can still be nuked by an enemy Athalia. So like, I don't know, building a hero who has a massive health pool, who's so tanky, and even fully supporting him and still having him be one-shot by an enemy Athalia, that is really brutal, right? But Athalia, it just goes to show you how strong Athalia is. But like, for most people, I would not recommend you building Baelran. Even on this account, I'm planning... Right now, I am honestly thinking I might just fully skip him, but I probably will eventually build him if he's needed for Ravage Realm or something. But for PvP, I am just not a fan of him. I think he's slow, he needs a lot of support, he's easily counterable by Dunlinger or Cure Lock, or you just kill him before he's able to get to his final form, or even he gets to his final form and Athalia one-shots him, right? So like, those are the issues with Baelran. I really do not think he's a very good future-proof hero. I think that like, he's already barely usable on his release. I do not like the looks of him for the future. He doesn't have any tech. He doesn't have any support, basically, for your team. It's all about himself. And him on his own, even with full support and full comp around him, is not really enough to win your team the fight. Convincingly. So that's my thing about Baelran. I really do not think he's even on the Dunlinger and Kulu tier. I would much rather prefer recommending them for PvP compared to Baelran. But Baelran is around these like Diurnal, and Scarlita and Burial. So basically these three heroes, so Scarlita, she has a Supreme Plus skill upgrade. She was used in the Thorin map for Supreme Arena pretty effectively in that map. But other than that, basically no usage. She's just not a very good hero because she's forcing you to fight a 4v5. And she's not impactful enough while in the air to warrant you running her, basically. And when she comes down, like, she doesn't have the kill potential she used to have at global launch. So... because there's so many better hyper carries. So Scarlita is just being like, she's kind of like a relic of the past. Even her Supreme Bless skill upgrade is not enough. Diurnal I do not like. I have him Paragon 4 on this account. I'll run him for Clash Fronts. But generally speaking, the meta now is not, Diurnal is not quite good enough. He's all about his damage nuking, and you can fully support him. You can give him, for example, Core Forge Artifact. You can give him Pheromore buff, Leica buff, and just wrap out, like, give him all of his intoxication stacks right from the beginning of the match. And he can burst pretty hard, but even then, it's usually not enough to one-shot an enemy team, and Ludovic can just heal it back up. That's what I've noticed from my testing, and so I just think, again, Diurnal kind of a relic of the past, just not very good, and not advisable to be investing into him right now. Like, even same with Baelran, Diurnal, Scarlita, I would not recommend you guys investing into them. Maybe more testing will come out and Baelran will be shown to be even better than he currently has from the limited testing we have. But as of right now, I'm really looking at Baleran kind of like Diurnal and Scarlita, very sort of not good enough heroes. Like the other heroes, when I see Kulu, when I see Dunlinger, when I see Twins, Athalia, Talene, I'm like, yeah, I can build a strong team. Even Rainier in PvP, I can build a really strong team around that. When I see Diurnal, Scarlita, Baleran, Diurnal is just like all about supporting the Diurnal, and then even then, his damage is not enough to one-shot enemy teams. Then you have Baleran, you fully support him, he can be countered with Kurlock, or even when he's fully supported, he can be one-shot by Athalia. So like, these are the issues, right? And those are, you do not want that, especially for a hero. I think that's the other thing. Diurnal and Baleran, they're selfish heroes. They're just all about themselves. They don't provide anything to the team. So it's like, okay, that's fine. But then when you fully ramp them up and support them, they should win you the match. Cryonite can win you the match if she can get off her ultimate. Baleran and Diurnal, I'm not so sure. Honestly, I'm not very convinced that they can just easily win you the fight. So like, then they need too much like support, and all your other heroes on the team do nothing. Like basically, if you have a full support Diurnal comp, full support Baleran comp, the other heroes don't do anything. So like, the only way to make them work is run them with other threats, which are actually better than them. Yeah. So then we have Burial. Burial not good either, because he's just not enough, not impactful enough. Yeah, so like, he's just in this Scarlita tier, the final tier. So that's basically how I think about it when I approach Celestial Hypogean heroes. I think Athalia, out of the PvP heroes, we mentioned Athalia, Cryonite, Talene, that is like a tier of their own, and Athalia is probably the number one I would recommend. And then after that, it's up to you, Talene or Cryonite, which one you prefer. Both have their merits. And then after that, Dunlinger and Kulu, very good tech options, basically the best PvP tech options, Dunlinger and Kulu. And also, of course, Rainier can fall into this category. Dunlinger, Kulu, Rainier, they're like the best PvP tech options, but Rainier, of course, is a higher tier because he's important for Dream Realm as well. So that is basically my opinions on these Celestial Hypogean heroes. Let me know what you guys think about it. It's always interesting to see other people's perspectives based on their own testing. But thanks for watching, guys. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please smash that subscribe button. Also, feel free to join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. And finally, if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. There's a link to that in the description of this video and a pinned comment. There's the best way you can support me at no extra cost to you. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.